introduced the concept of lived space? Henri Lefebvre. Which theory emphasizes the role of social practices in shaping space? Practice theory. What is the term for the visible and tangible aspects of a landscape? Landscape morphology. Who coined the term non-place to describe spaces lacking a strong sense of identity? Marc Auger. What theory explores how power relations are embedded in spatial arrangements? Foucauldian spatial theory. What term refers to the process of creating a mental map of one's environment? Cognitive mapping. Which theory posits that the spatial organization of society reflects the interests of dominant groups? Marxist spatial theory. Who introduced the concept of topophilia, meaning love of place? Yi-Fu Tuan. What theory emphasizes the role of technology in reshaping spatial relations? Technological determinism. Which term describes the process of transforming rural areas into urban ones? Urbanization. Who proposed the concept of simulacra to describe the hyperreal nature of contemporary space? Jean Baudrillard. What is the term for the physical and psychological boundary between public and private space? Threshold. Which theory examines how individuals perceive and experience space? Phenomenological spatial theory. Who introduced the concept of territoriality to describe the marking and control of space by humans? Robert Sack. What term describes the spatial pattern formed by the distribution of settlements? Settlement morphology. Which theory argues that spatial arrangements reflect cultural values and beliefs? Cultural geography. Who coined the term global city to describe key nodes in the global economic system? Saskia Sassen. What is the term for the division of space into distinct zones or regions? Zoning. Which theory explores how social identities are constructed and contested in space? Identity politics. Who introduced the concept of third space, which combines physical, mental, and imagined space? Edward Soga. What term refers to the process of creating a sense of place through cultural practices? Placemaking. Which theory examines the role of infrastructure in shaping spatial patterns? Network theory. Who proposed the concept of placelessness to describe the homogenization of space? Edward Ralph. What is the term for the spatial arrangement of objects and structures within a given area? Spatial configuration. Which theory investigates the spatial dimensions of power and resistance? Spatial justice. Who introduced the concept of disorientation to describe the feeling of being lost in unfamiliar space? Kevin Lynch. What term refers to the process of creating more sustainable spatial practices? Ecological urbanism. Which theory examines how individuals perceive and navigate through space using mental maps? Wayfinding theory. Who coined the term glocalization to describe the adaptation of global processes to local contexts? Roland Robertson. What is the term for the spatial distribution of economic activities? Economic geography. Which theory explores how spatial arrangements shape social interactions and behavior? Social spatial theory. Who introduced the concept of postmodern geography to describe the fragmented nature of contemporary space? David Harvey. What term refers to the process of transforming urban areas into green spaces? Urban greening. Which theory investigates the relationship between architecture and social power? Architectural determinism. Who coined the term sacred space to describe places imbued with religious significance? Mircea Eliade. What is the term for the intentional modification of the natural landscape for human use? Landscape modification. Which theory examines the role of gender in shaping spatial practices and experiences? Feminist geography. Who introduced the concept of ecumene to describe inhabited land areas? Carl Sauer. What term refers to the spatial layout of a city or urban area? Urban morphology. Which theory explores how spaces are represented and interpreted in cultural texts? Semiotics of space. Who proposed the concept of vernacular architecture to describe locally adapted building styles? Bernard Rudofsky. What is the term for the spatial distribution of political power and authority? Political geography. Which theory examines the role of emotions in shaping spatial experiences? Affective geography. Who introduced the concept of place attachment to describe emotional bonds to specific locations? John Brinkerhoff Jackson. What term refers to the process of redeveloping urban areas to attract investment and residents? Urban renewal. Which theory investigates the spatial dimensions of inequality and segregation? Spatial inequality. Who coined the term cosmopolitanism to describe the openness to diverse cultures and ideas? Ulrich Beck. What is the term for the spatial distribution of demographic characteristics? Demographic geography. Which theory examines the role of sensory experiences in shaping spatial perceptions? Sensory geography. Who introduced the concept of sustainability to describe practices that meet present needs without compromising future generations? Brundtland Commission.